Hey, I've got some fresh herbs and I want to show you how to use them in your cooking to make it better. Because we all want to cook better, right? We all want just for the people that we cook for to be like, oh my gosh, that was so tasty. And I'm learning a lot as I'm doing my chefing, because for those of you who don't know, I'm now working part-time as a chef, which is really cool, and I'm learning a lot. And one of the things I've noticed is that they use a lot of fresh herbs, like in restaurants that I've worked for. They tend to use a lot of fresh herbs, more so than I've seen people use in home cooking. And it's just really good. It's just like elevating the flavor of your cooking. So I went to the farmer's market this morning and I got some cilantro, or coriander as we call it here. I got some mint and I got some dill. And I also got some of these really beautiful kind of like purple cress. I think that's so pretty. And the thing I love about farmers markets is that you can get really different stuff. Like I've never seen this in the supermarket. So it's really nice to go to farmers market because you can just get more interesting things. And I got this purple kale as well. I'm trying to eat loads and loads of just like fresh greens. And also about farmers markets, you know, they're pesticide free and organic and all that stuff. So using your fresh herbs, there are two ways that you can use them and store them. And I'm going to show you how I do it and how I've seen people doing it in restaurants. So I've got a container here, and with one container you pick off the leaves of your herbs and you put, you know, just like the mixture of herbs, and you put them in there. And you're going to use this, like you can bunch it up, use it as a garnish. You can sprinkle. You can use it like actually as a whole salad. I love doing that, like using a whole bunch of herbs as salad, because there's so much more flavor in it than just, you know, like boring old lettuce leaves. And then the second way is to take your herbs and do the same thing. You pick off the leaves, or sometimes you can use the stems as well, depending on what herb it is, and you just chop it really finely. And with this lot of herbs, then you just like put it through your cooking, and you know, you can add it to so many things. But I've got two easy dishes that I'm going to show you today, and ways that you can use your fresh herbs. So first I'm going to just show you here. So I've got dill. So with dill, you don't want to use the stem, so you just want to pick the leafy bits off. And actually, I'm being kind of lazy. Really what you should do, take your herb and you pull off each one, and then you can take each like frond off of the stem, and have a bowl or trash for the stems. So then you put that there, and then you put that in the trash. And keep going until you use up half the herb. So use half of each bunch of herb, okay? And then you're going to use the other half. You're going to use one half for your really chopped herbs, and you're going to use the other half for your salad herbs, whole herbs for garnish. It looks so pretty, you know, and it gives your plate some height. So here's my coriander or cilantro. So do the same thing, use half of that. And I wanted to give you guys a herb challenge. This is what I want you to do. I want you to, this week when you go shopping, buy like a whole bunch of herbs. Buy 4, maybe 3 or 4 herbs. The ones that I really like are the ones I've shown here. And I like chervil is really, really nice as well, if you can come across that. And also what's in season. So like if you're in America, mint right now is not going to be in the season because that's a really summery herb. But we're coming into summer, so I've got that. But it's so fresh and vibrant, you know, and you can add it to your salad dressings. It just really makes things taste nicer. So, okay, so you take half of each bunch of herb, and this time we're going to chop them. So you just bundle them all up and chop through. Fine. And then once you get to the end, you just kind of squish them together, turn it around, so then you chop the other side. And gosh, like, you know, it's rustic. It's not like it's fine dining in your own kitchen, you know. But it's nice to have those little ones, okay? So we're gonna put that in our, I love these takeaway containers. I know we're supposed to be using less plastic, but you know, if you get these from, if you order takeout, then I use them all the time. And every restaurant that I've worked in, they always use these. They're just really handy for storing things like herbs. And you know what? These will keep for a long time in your fridge. And just a note on that, how to keep them. You want to put like a moist paper towel down in the bottom, and then you put your herbs on top. Or if your herbs are wet, like say if you've had to rinse off, sometimes coriander or cilantro, it's got a lot of like sandy stuff in it. So you want to rinse that off, drain it, and pat it with a paper towel, but then put another paper towel in the bottom. And these will keep for a long time. They keep like, you know, keep for like 4 or 5 days. And then you have them ready to go. So then like at the end of your meal, you know, it's like your dinner meal. If you just take a bunch of this, squeeze it together in your hand, put a little bit of vinaigrette on it in a bowl, and just put it on the plate. It's just like, it's so nice, you know, just elevates your dish. Okay, so just to show you, so I'll show you the chopped herbs, and then with this one, you just, like I said before, you just pick the leaves. Just take an hour. Not an hour, it's not going to take you an hour, but you know, put some music on, take 15 minutes and go through all your herbs and do that while you're in the kitchen. I think it's kind of a relaxing thing to do. Okay, so you've got your 2 ways with your herbs. Now I'm going to show you the 2 dishes. Okay, so the first thing is a whipped feta. Okay, so I've got a feta cheese. And if you're just joining, I'm talking about using herbs in your cooking. So I'm going to use this feta cheese, and now I'm going to tell you how I made this. Okay, so I got a pack of feta cheese, and there are 2 types of feta. You know, you've got the hard block kind, and it's like kind of waxy, or you've got a soft one. It's best to use the really soft one because you're kind of making this like a dip. I actually had the harder one. It's called like a Greek, sometimes called Greek feta, and the other one can be called Danish feta, or sometimes I remember getting in the Lebanese shop when we were living in London. So I had the hard one, but I just whizzed it around more in my blender. So you put it in your blender, and you put like half of the feta cheese and then half of cream cheese. And just a note about the cream cheese, I use mascarpone now because I looked at the back of the Philadelphia cream cheese, and it had tons of additives, preservatives. And when I looked at the back of the mascarpone, it was like, you know, just milk, rennet. So just a little note to watch out for, you know, big name products like Philadelphia. Even, you know, the cream cheese, the supermarket brand, they'll try and make it taste like the Philadelphia, so they'll use all the additives and stuff. I'm really like trying to crack down on this stuff. It's crazy what we ingest. So anyway, this whipped feta, it's so easy. So you just whip it up with half cream cheese and half feta cheese, and you have this really yummy mixture. And so I'm going to show you what I'm going to do with my herbs. I'm going to put half of my feta in the bowl, and the other half I'm going to use for the other dish. Okay, so then I'm going to take the chopped herbs. So I've got in here mint, coriander, or cilantro, as you call it, and I've got some chives in here too that I had chopped. You know, I've just like added to them through the week. So I'm going to take that, and I'm going to add the some herbs into that feta mixture, and I'm going to just mix it all around. So then you have like a herbed feta, and it could be used as a dip, or it could be used as the base of a dish. So I'm going to show you how to use it for like a nice appetizer dish. So I actually did this for a friend who came over for dinner last night, so that's why I've got my feta already made up. Okay, now the other thing that you can do is we're going to put some cherry tomatoes on top, right? Okay, so overnight, this is so easy. Just overnight, you put some cherry tomatoes. Let me get them in a roasting tray, and you put it on the lowest heat possible. Just, you want it to be like a hot day, you know, like a really hot day, because it's going to go overnight. So it's not like cooking them. You just want it to be like they're blistered, and then it just concentrates the flavor. So I put the cherry tomatoes, and I got the ones with the vines on, because the cherry tomatoes with vines, or any tomato, the vine has all the tomato flavor, and it looks so pretty too. So I poured a little bit of olive oil on it, and I drizzled it with balsamic vinegar. I put it in overnight on the lowest temperature. Okay, so now I'm going to show you what you're going to do. So you're going to take your herbed feta. Oh my gosh, and there's a hair on my plate there. That's actually really naughty, you know, because if any kitchen that I've worked in, you have to have your hair back. And it kind of annoys me when I see chefs not doing that one. But, you know, I want to look pretty as well. So, anyway, my ego there getting in the way. But, so you take your feta on the plate, and you just spread it around. And then just take a bunch of your cherry tomatoes, put it right on top. And then I'm going to get the juices that came out of the bottom. Really yummy. So I'm going to take some of these juices and just pour it all on top. And it's so tasty. I mean, you can have that with crackers, or we had like really nice seeded baguettes last night, and you could just dip it in, and the tomatoes are like really, really sweet. So they've got a really good flavor. Okay, and now just to let you know, with the rest of your tomatoes, put those in a jar, fill them up with like mainly olive oil, little jar, like, you know, stems and all, because they look so pretty, and that adds to the flavor. Fill it up with some olive oil, and then just like a little bit more vinegar, and you have then like preserved tomatoes, and you can bring those out, use this, and it doesn't have to be hot. You know, this can be, so like say if you had somebody coming for dinner, you know, cook it overnight and then put it in your fridge. It's actually really nice cold. So there's my first dish, whipped herbed feta with cherry tomatoes. And now I'm going to show you just like a really nice dinner dish. Now I'm going to use the same, I'm going to use this whipped feta again, but I would often do this dish with like an aioli, so which would be like half mayonnaise, half Greek yogurt, some crushed garlic. That's it. They serve that at the restaurant that I work in as like a dip for the French fries. It's so good. And this is going to be a fish, so we're going to do like a pan-fried fish. And on the bottom, you really just want something to smear, because it's like a sauce, you know. It's just really nice to have your pan-fried fish and then a sauce underneath it. So I would suggest using that aioli, but you can also use this whipped feta, so that's what I'm going to show you. So I'm going to put that down like that, and just smear it in a chefy kind of way. And then, so I've had fish that I have been pan-searing on the side, okay? And when you cook fish, I really like the fish skin when it goes really crispy. And you pretty much, when you cook fish, you want to cook it all on the skin side. It's like the same with pancakes. You cook it all on one side, and then you just turn it over at the end just to finish through. But you get a really nice crispy skin that way. And, you know, cook it in butter too. That's the other thing that I've learned since I'm working in restaurants. Oh my gosh, you would not believe the butter that they use. But it tastes really good, and, you know I talk health, but I'm also about just natural. Butter's natural. Okay, so I'm going to put this pan-seared fish on my whipped feta just like that. And to serve this, we're going to use our herbs. Okay, so I've got some green vegetables. And in here I've got some peas and some edamame beans, which I've shelled. And but I've also done this with like green beans and asparagus. And, you know, just like simply cook them, it takes like a minute, you know. In fact, I just microwave these just for like a minute. And then I shelled the edamame beans, which looks like this. You know, just shelled them out. or just blanch some French beans and some asparagus, like I say. And then you take your herbs that you have chopped finely, and you put some herbs in there. So it's like so easy to put this together, but you've got like a really nice kind of gourmet-like meal, you know. And then I've got a vinaigrette. Always have a vinaigrette on hand. Always have a creamy one, or like creamy dressing, and like a fresh one like this. So maybe I'll do another video on how I do my dressings, but it's so easy to make, and again, like you can avoid all those additives that you get from the store-bought ones. So I've got a vinaigrette, just add a bit of vinaigrette in there and just stir it around. A good bit of salt. I like the salt flakes, so I'm gonna just add a bit of salt in there. And this is low carb too. I mean, you have seen I've kind of recently lost a lot of weight, so I'm always trying to come up with nice low carb dishes. So there's nothing on here like potatoes or bread, you know. You've got the feta, which is kind of, you know, adds a little bit of fat. So if you're watching your weight, maybe use a little bit less of that. So you've got your minted green beans, and then add more. I mean, like, use tons of herbs, you know. Okay, now I'm going to use this same bowl, and I'm going to make a herb garnish. So I'm going to take your whole herb leaves, okay? So take a whole herb leaf and take a nice, this is like per person, you know, take, you can do it, let's say if you were doing for two, just take a bigger bunch, and take your vinaigrette, same exact thing. And you've got the same flavors running through the whole dish, which is also nice. And again, just stuff that I've seen chefs do. Okay, and then just a tiny bit, just like a few drops. You're making like a little herb salad. Okay, just a few drops. Oh, and I'm going to use some of this beautiful cress here as well. This purple cress I got at the farmer's market. Okay, and then just like scrunch it up like a ball, and then just stick it on the side. So it just gives like a nice kind of dimension of height. And add, if you've got something else like cress, or just add it on the top. So there you go. I hope you think that looks nice. That's pan-seared. This is barramundi, which is a popular fish here in Australia. Pan-seared barramundi with whipped feta, herbed green vegetables, and a herb garnish on top. And it's low carb, it's easy, it's fast. Really, no one would complain, would they? Hope not. Okay, thanks guys. I hope you've enjoyed this video. I think just by doing the video, I thought maybe I'll do the next one on some vinaigrettes and salad dressings. That might be a nice, just, you know, I just want to show you ways that I'm learning that kind of takes the cooking up the notch and makes whoever you're cooking for go like, oh wow, that's so good. Because really that's all we want, right? We want to feed our loved ones and be healthy in the process. So I hope you have enjoyed that. And I'm also going to do another blog post. So if you want these recipes, I'm going to put them on my blog soon. So look out for that in the next week or so. Okay, everybody, take care. Have a great day.